Welcome to the program. If the Gaddafi regime was hoping its latest ceasefire offer would slow the Western airstrikes against Libya, it needs to think again. For a second night, explosions and anti-aircraft fire have rocked the capital, Tripoli. Missiles have even hit a building within Gaddafi's own compound. The Pentagon insists it's not targeting the Libyan dictator, but it is confident the air campaign has halted Gaddafi's offensive against the rebel stronghold of Benghazi and created a no-fly zone over the northern half of the country. That's the optimistic view. The pessimistic one is that this could get complicated and turn into another prolonged military intervention in the Middle East. From Washington, here's ABC correspondent Michael Brissenden.
Today, I authorized the Armed Forces of the United States to begin a limited military action in Libya.
Alongside its Arab, European and North American partners, France has decided to play its part before history.
We have all seen the appalling brutality that Colonel Gaddafi has meted out against his own people. And far from introducing the ceasefire he spoke about, he has actually stepped up the attacks.
Almost 8 years to the day from the start of the invasion of Iraq, the United States finds itself leading a new coalition into a new military engagement in the Middle East. This one, admittedly, has very different aims, but this president is well aware there's little appetite at home for any new military adventure.
I want the American people to know that the use of force is not our first choice, and it's not a choice that I make lightly.
Having watched as the Libyan leader fought back viciously against his own people, the coalition of global leaders clearly felt they had no choice.
Colonel Gaddafi has made this happen. He has lied to the international community. He has promised a ceasefire. He has broken that ceasefire. He continues to brutalise his own people. And so the time for action has come.
The initial campaign was designed to knock out Libya's air defence systems and radar and communications centres. Some of Gaddafi's ground forces were also hit. The US says it intends to hand over the leadership of the military action to the British and the French in the next few days. But now the campaign is underway, no one can be quite sure where it will lead.
If anyone's looking for a perfect result, none of these things bring perfect results. It's going to be messy. Anything to do with the military operation will be messy, will be dangerous.
And the mess is not always physical. As those with experience know, airstrikes can also unleash a whole range of other explosive and unpredictable forces.
How can you judge what the consequences are of a cruise missile coming along at 550 miles an hour, cutting through buildings, might be? Or Mirage aircraft, or F-18s dropping bombs. You never know what these unintended consequences are. There's never been a war without unintended consequences.
And certainly in Barack Obama's case, there's domestic political considerations as well.
Is this once again a counterinsurgency situation? Is it a nation-building affair? None of that's been defined. The president, in his meeting with congressional leaders, simply said it's a matter of days, not weeks. Well, I've asked, what did he mean? How does he know?
Senator Richard Lugar is a former long-term Republican chairman of the important Senate Foreign Relations Committee. He is one of those who believe the outcomes of this action have not yet been adequately defined.
The president said Gaddafi should go because he's a monster and so forth. But it is our objective that Gaddafi must go in the way that Saddam Hussein must go 8 years ago, for example. Precisely what outcome do we anticipate with the rest of the Libyans that are left? We don't know of an alternative government.
Although the stated aim of the military action is solely to enforce the UN no-fly zone resolution, no one has any doubt that the unspoken end goal is to remove Muammar Gaddafi. But equally, no one expects him to go without a fight. As the attacks began, he remained defiant, delivering this statement on Libyan television.
You are unjust. You are the aggressors. You are beasts. You are criminals. Your countries are against you. There are protests everywhere in Europe and America against the steps you're taking against the innocent Libyan people. The people are with us. Even your people are with us.
His son, Saif, was equally defiant during this interview with ABC America.
Simply, you the Americans and the other Western countries, you are supporting the terrorists and the armed militia. That's it. But believe me, one day you'll wake up and you will find out you are doing a big mistake with supporting those people. It's like the WMD in Iraq. Right. It's another story.
Already, the Gaddafi regime has begun to try to turn the attack into a wider Arab cause, describing the action as a new crusade. Analysts like Paul Sullivan say there'll be plenty more of that to come.
This may spark many Arabs and other Muslims to think that this is once again an attack on the Islamic world, rather than the protection of civilians, which is the base case for this.
The one thing that might prevent that is continued support for the action from other Arab nations. Qatar is expected to contribute some of its own air force to the mission in the next few days, and the operation does have the support of the Arab League. Although shortly after the attack began, the head of the Arab League expressed concern about the intensity of the bombardment.
As things are developing over time, and if this gets really brutal and bloody from Gaddafi's part, and reactions and counter-reactions, then you may see the Arab League possibly thinking in a different way. And you may also see the publics of certain countries starting to shy away from the idea.
Michael Brissenden reporting from Washington.